I'm the youngest cohort of Generation X. I was born in 1979. And I have to say, I feel a kind of kinship with the Zoomers because they seem to be following on a similar trajectory to us, right? So Generation X is known as the sort of the latchkey generation, where we were just essentially told by our boomer and silent generation parents or greatest generation parents, just go do something and stop bothering me. And that was fine, actually, because the world was a lot safer than it is now back then. But it also does mean that you're kind of left a not end and you don't really know what you're supposed to do. And it will feel, it definitely felt to me, as if the institutions were not really there to help me and didn't really have any interest in me being around and didn't really want to do anything for me. And that was before there was an open animus against white people, against men, against straight people, etc., expressed by the institutions. I can only imagine how difficult it is now. And I see a lot of these sorts of things by young women burning their food. And, well, we all did the same sort of thing. It's just that we didn't put it on the internet because the internet didn't really exist, at least not in the form that it exists now. And so the point I'm making is we didn't really feel, I think, like we had a huge amount of help. And I think that Zoomers are kind of in the same position. And I find myself genuinely sympathetic to all of this. Because you get, essentially, it looks to me like the Zoomers just have to figure out a lot of stuff on their own, which is difficult, but honestly kind of is rewarding at the end of it. So I saw this article on Fortune, and we'll go through it in a minute, because basically 4 million Gen-Zers are jobless, they're NEETS, they have worthless degrees, and they are the consequence of a system of broken promises, and they don't know what to do, and I can imagine that's pretty frustrating. Right, pretty damn frustrating. Now, the one way that Gen X dealt with this is basically by just being the small business owners. So in America, 47.2% of small business owners are Gen X. That's a huge number, right? That's really indicative of a very independent-minded generation, especially when the baby boomers, who are a bigger generation, are only 39%, and 12% of the millennials. 12%. Like, millennials show a remarkable conformity to the system and the institutions that comprise it, which is just remarkable, isn't it? It's just a staggering amount of conformity from the millennials. The millennials just turn around and said, yeah, okay, we accept your system and we want it to serve us. We're going to work our way, brown nose our way through the institutions and get to where we want. And we're going to turn them into the sort of things that we want. And therefore, the institutions went entirely woke, became entirely soft, became entirely oppressively managerial. And this genuinely didn't suit the Gen X temperament, who went into business for themselves, as you can see. And I mean, I'm literally a living example of this. I worked in various companies for 20 years or 15 years before I started on YouTube, and now I own my own small business, and I hope I'm a decent enough boss. I hope I'm okay, and we're doing well, by the way. Thank you for all the support, and I completely understand the desire not to be part of the corporate world. Right, when I was young, being a part of the corporate world was basically considered to be selling out, and the worst thing you want to do is sell out. What you wanted to do is set up your own business and employ people for whom you could make sure that the working conditions were at least not like a straight jacket around them, and that they could express themselves and do productive things, and hopefully things would go well. And so when I look at this, I can understand why a bunch of Gen Zers don't really want to be part of the system, because the system is set against them, and it's also soul crushing. Absolutely soul crushing. I've spoken about this before, but if you look at Gen X entertainment, sort of The Matrix, Fight Club, all those sorts of things, like Office Space, The Office, all of these sorts of things, we hate working in the modern office, right? The modern office environment is awful, and we hate it, and we would rather set up our own small thing that, okay, we're not going to, might not be on 6-figure salaries or something, but at least we'll be happy, right? At least we'll have something of our own that we can make of ourselves and be happy. And actually, I think there's a bit of an alliance that could be created between the Gen Xers and the Gen Zers, because a lot of the Gen Xers do have their own businesses, and Gen Zers need jobs. And it's like, okay, that's great. Let's work together, right? The thing that Gen Zers have to remember is that Gen X has a good work ethic, and the thing that you have to develop as a Gen Z is a good work ethic. But that seems to be something that's completely within your compass. There's no reason that you can't do that. And I suspect that a lot of Gen Zers do want to work hard. I suspect that a lot of them do want to do something. They just at the moment are kind of in a position where they feel they're like Wile E. Coyote running off the cliff and is wondering where the ground is before he starts plummeting, right? Like, you've been sold a pack of lies about, what you can do in college or in university and how you'll just be able to get a job and you'll pay off your student debt and stuff like this. It's like, yeah, okay. I'm sorry they BS'd you, basically. But this isn't something that is the sort of thing you have to take lying down. And fortunately, the avenues for creating your own things have never been easier to walk down. Right? It's never been easier to organize remotely. You can, do everything via Discord or via WhatsApp or whatever new app you kids today are using. It's never been easier to produce something and sell it. Like, access to a market is really, really easy via the internet, via Amazon, via eBay or Etsy or wherever. Getting access to a customer base for a product has never been easier. You just have to be inventive. And because the internet is a massive place and things have got the potential to go viral all the time, and they do go viral all the time, you can actually find yourself doing something productive. Like, for example, I saw a post the other day of some guy who was selling magic spells on Etsy, right? So anyway, what I'm saying is that basically you can succeed, you can get ahead. You just have to be creative. You just have to figure out what it is you think you have a talent for and would like to do long term, and just keep working at it. And one of the things that you will encounter is, of course, failure. Failure is a completely common thing, and you just have to step past every failure. If something didn't work, fine, don't worry about it. Let it go. Don't throw good money off the bad. Accept that was a failure. Pick yourself up. Think about what you want to do next, and just get on with it. Keep trying things until something succeeds. The success is the last attempt before the last of a set of failures that preceded it. So don't get dispirited. This is just the way life is. So anyway, they say here that a lot of Gen Zers fall into this category because they are taking care of a family member or may have been frozen out of an increasingly tough job market. This is why you should basically be against immigration. Bringing labourers in from foreign countries makes your life more difficult, putting white-collar jobs out of your reach. And so this is an issue. This is a real catastrophe, and basically the system has been set up for Gen Zers to fail. So the question is, what are you going to do about that? It's not any good to wallow in depression and sit there scrolling on your phone all day. Like, that doesn't help. Think of how you're going to succeed. Think of how you're going to get out of this. And it's interestingly Peter Hitchens that they're citing in this. He says, in many cases, young people have been sent off to universities for worthless degrees which have produced nothing at all for them, and they would be much better off if they had been apprenticed to plumbers or electricians. They would be able to look forward to a much more abundant and satisfying life. That is true, but that doesn't help where you are now, right? So Peter Hitchens is correct, but unfortunately the chips have fallen as the chips have fallen. So you've got to take your strange esoteric degree and figure out how you can put that to use. What does that actually give you? What skill does that give you that is actually not common? And how can that be monetized? How can that be used to some sort of productive end? You simply just have no choice here. Other than that, you're just going to be a jobless NEET forever, so sponging on welfare, and you're going to be poor and depressed. So you may as well crack on with something. And I mean, since you're NEETs anyway, according to this, you take your time to do it. Just spend your time working on something that you find interesting and pull the thread and see where it leads. Like when I started on YouTube, it wasn't evident that there was a career in YouTube, right? In 2013, I didn't know anything about YouTube when I first made a YouTube video, and I wasn't really doing it to make money. I didn't know you could make money doing it. I was doing it because I was pissed off with the state of the world. And that snowballed into something else. So basically find the thing that you want to do and just start doing it. And if you are, as you do it, you'll develop the skill of it. And this will end up attracting people who find it interesting. Post about it on social media. Make sure that people can access what you're working on, and you'll get feedback, you'll get advice, you'll make connections, and you'll find yourself building up a network and a profile, and you may be able to turn this strange niche thing that you do into a life, into a business, into something that can sustain you. And so you'll enjoy getting up on Monday mornings. That's the thing. I don't hate Monday mornings. I used to hate Monday mornings more than anything when I was working in a terrible, boring, administrative job or something like that. But now I don't hate Monday mornings. Now I just hate waking up generally because I've got loads of kids. And I'm always tired, as you can tell by the bags under my eyes. But that's nothing to do with my work. I really enjoy my work, and I spend when I have 5 minutes to myself, I'll scroll through comments just to see what people are saying, because I'm interested in knowing what you guys think, how your perspectives on things, where you guys are at compared to where I am. And so anyway, the point being, just you'll find something that you like if you want it, right? You just have to want it. So anyway, the Fortune do point out that, look, there is an issue here, that the higher education is leaving them with skills that are not immediately tailored for the job market. And that just literally means, right, you guys are on your own and you have to figure it out. You've got no choice here. You just have to figure it out. And there's no blueprint. No one's done this before. Like when I was young, the internet, it wasn't even clear you could make money on the internet, right? And now it's very clear that there is plenty of money to be made on the internet. It's a brand new frontier, and you guys are the first who get to really properly explore it. Like, we don't know what is possible. Like, if you've got, especially with the way that AI is going at the moment, surely AI is going to be able to program apps, if not already, but in the very near future. So if you've got a crazy idea for an app, surely it's not going to be actually very difficult to get it done. Right? I mean, I'm sure you could fairly easily network with some computer science guys and programmers to get the thing off the ground anyway. But even if you can't, surely AI is just going to be able to program it for you, right? It's really not going to be long before pretty much anything that you can dream up can be made into a reality. And if it is good, if it is productive, if it is useful to people and provides them with something that they didn't know that they wanted, and again, to be clear, it doesn't have to be anything especially tangible either. Like, again, the guy selling spells on the internet where he just casts the spell and like sends them a photo or sends them a video and says, yes, thank you, that'll be $50 or whatever it is. Like, I mean, if that makes them feel better, that's a service they're prepared to pay for, right? It sounds bonkers to me, but it makes those people feel better, and they needed it for whatever reason, and to them that's money well spent. For them, I guess it's peace of mind or something like this. But anyway, the point being, you can't expect the boomers or millennials to do anything for you, right? Everyone's like, oh, the boomers are a deeply selfish generation. Yeah, well, so are the millennials, let's be honest. They did everything for themselves. They've turned corporate life into something genuinely unbearable. Like the boomers made it quite bad anyway, but they turned it into the sort of Gordon Gekko, hyper ruthless capitalist system. And then the millennials were like, no, we need a hyper matriarchal capitalist system. Actually, it's like, oh god, I don't really want either of these options. Like, I think just a moderately responsible corporate environment that treats people as they are rather than berates them with a bunch of excessively nanny-ish rules would be better, actually. I think that would be better for everyone. But anyway, the point being, no one's coming to save you. right? You've only got yourselves to rely on. And this, again, this very much what we learned from Generation X. No one's coming to save you. You've just got to rely on yourselves. So just get to where you can on your own merits. Figure it out. Be creative. Try things that haven't been done before. And a lot of them will fail, but one or two will succeed, and that'll be very interesting and important. Even if it's only, you making like 100K a year doing like magic spells for boomer women online or something, right? It doesn't have to be world changing and to make you millions and millions of dollars, even if it's just a sustainable and decently funded career for you. So you yourself are well, you get to succeed on your own terms. Honestly, I think that's more than worth it. And if, a handful of you will create world changing things, just like some of the millennials did. I mean, or some of the Gen Xers, like think Jack Dorsey and Twitter, he didn't know what the scope of that was going to be when he created it, right? He had no idea. Mark Zuckerberg, exactly the same. In fact, he's a perfect example of a millennial who revolutionized the world. He didn't know that he would be creating untold hours of AI slop to boomers as they sit on their cruises and press a like on, how many likes can we get for our boys, blah, blah, blah. He had no idea what he was doing. And yet, look at where he is now. So who knows, right? Anyway, so I'm going to stop waffling about this. But the point I'm trying to make is I am genuinely sympathetic to the plight of the Gen-Zers. It's not easy to realize that actually total freedom means no one is there to help you, to give you any guidance, and to be on a frontier that no one has properly explored before. Like, we don't really know where all this goes. We don't know what the result will be. And honestly, I can't give you any more advice than just do it. Just do it. If you've got an idea, just start working on it. I mean, you've got nothing else to do. So you may as well just start working on the same thing day in and day out. And before you know it, you could end up with something very successful.